as much as I hate to say it, Marvel has been on a steady decline ever since Endgame. And before you click off the video thinking you've heard this a million times before, it might not be because of the reason you're thinking of. You know, ever since the MCU started their first phase, like back in 2008, you know, when around that era where Incredible Hulk was coming out, Iron Man was coming out, you know, we're watching these movies all for the first time as kids. And, you know, they have the stories, all the movies connect up until the payoff, which is Endgame. And it just seems like ever since Endgame was finished and that era of movies was completed, nothing really hit the same after that. And I was thinking initially, like, I was like, why? Why does it feel like these movies don't hit the same? Like, is it because they're not trying to flesh out their characters anymore? They're not really, you know, trying to make the stories as interesting, or it's too woke? I just couldn't figure it out for a while, but I've came to the conclusion that it's because Marvel doesn't grow with its audience. And what do I mean by that? See, like I said before, we all started watching these MCU movies when we were kids, right? Around like 2008. And now it's 2025. Most of us are adults now. So the issue that Marvel has is it tries to make every movie like family friendly, you know, kind of childish. They throw in comedy around every corner. And, you know, it seems like with certain movies, they do push it a little bit. Perfect example is Thunderbolts, right? You know, Thunderbolts was hitting some heavy topics. So, like depression, substance abuse, you know, suicide. Like, it seemed like Marvel could have pushed that to a rated R movie, but it's like they were right there, but they couldn't fully commit because they wanted to make it still family friendly. And that's the issue that I'm having with these new Marvel movies. They don't grow with their audience. Now, there's a couple things that they could do to fix this. And, you know, I don't know how realistic both these ideas are. I don't think it's that hard to do, but obviously I don't make movies, so I don't know what the process would look like. But my first idea is that they continue making, you know, the regular PG-13 movies. However, within that same movie, make a rated R version. You know, you could still sell the PG-13 version, you know, to the audience, but also within the same movie also have a rated R version for the people that are a little bit older, you know, that want that more real, that darker side of Marvel. Because Marvel has some dark shit. They just don't like to show it that much for whatever reason. Same issue with DC. They got a lot of dark shit, but they are so scared to show it for whatever reason. So, you know, that's one route they can go. I don't know if that would make movies, the production behind it, significantly longer for them to push out. Like I said, I don't make movies, so I don't really know what this would look like on paper. But, you know, I feel like it's a idea. You know what I mean? It's something that might be able to be done. Maybe not. I don't know. I just feel like this is you know, just another option to have as far as, you know, trying to gear their movies more towards not just kids and, like, you know, family friendly, but more towards adults. Because like I said, that's the issue that they're having right now. It just feels too kid friendly. And, you know, that grows old after a while. If you keep seeing these kid friendly movies, they get old real quick. So the other idea that I had was they just straight up make rated R movies that are, you know, completely separate from the idea that I was talking about before. And what they could do with these rated R movies is have it specific to villains, right? Like, imagine seeing a Thanos origin movie, but it was PG-13. You know how ass that would be? Like, I honestly probably, I probably would still watch it. It wouldn't be as enjoyable just knowing that, you know, because Thanos was ruthless. You know what I'm saying? Like, we seen what he done. He literally put the Avengers to work. You know what I'm saying? He fucked them up. So if they had like a rated R like Thanos origin story movie, I would 100% pay to see that. And you know, it doesn't have to stop there. Like they could do more villains and you know just make the movies dark as they should be because they're villains. You know, they're not, you know, the good guy in the story. Well, in their head, obviously, they see themselves as the person that's, you know, seeking justice and things of that nature. But I think as long as it's, you know, dark enough and, you know, they try to make it as like gritty and like real as possible and like they keep that rated R vibe, I think this could be a very solid idea for Marvel to go with. Just to push out again more movies geared towards adults. You know, maybe it doesn't even have to just be villains. Like, to be honest with you, and I know this is never going to happen, but damn, this would be fire. If we saw a rated R version of Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man. Like, let's say they came out with Amazing Spider-Man 3. I don't know if y'all remember. Okay, this is going to be a slight spoiler, but not really, because I'm sure y'all have already seen the movie. And Tom Holland's, like, Spider-Man No Way Home, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man had mentioned he went on this dark path for a while after, you know, Gwen died. So I think if they made a movie like that, but made it rated R, and they showed how strong and how brutal Spider-Man could actually be, because he holds back within every fight. He's a lot stronger than what we've seen on screen. Way fucking stronger. So I think it would be dope to see that, but I just know, you know, Marvel's never gonna do something like that. It would be really cool to see, but realistically, that's probably never gonna happen. But you know, that's just again another example. Like they could just show some of these heroes darker sides, and you know, just not try to sugarcoat anything. Stop trying to push the agenda of all of our stuff is family friendly. You know, you could bring your kids to see any of our movies. Like, kind of sick of seeing it. Like, they get a few passes with Deadpool. I think Logan was also rated R, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'll have to look that up later. That was a pretty good movie. But it's like my favorite Marvel movies are pretty much rated R. Or if they're not rated R, they're like close to it. Like they could push it to rated R if they, you know, committed to it. So, and I think that only is like that for me because, you know, like I said, obviously I'm older now. I started watching these movies when I was a kid. So just naturally, as I got older, you know, you outgrow this like, you know, like kid friendly style of a movie, and you just want something more, you know, like just something more like realistic and dark. You know, it's just don't sugarcoat shit. You know what I mean? So yeah, hopefully Marvel does something similar to this in the future. Again, I don't know how it would work exactly, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got. You know, appreciate y'all for tuning into my rants. Other than that, yeah, that's all I got. So catch y'all on the next one. Peace. Damn, I don't even know what the fuck to say. That's crazy. As soon as the camera came on, all my ideas went out the fucking window. Okay, now I'm just ranting. Okay, let's just, you know what? We're not gonna restart. We're just gonna keep it pushing.